opportunity to present with you today. I'm going to talk about innovation and talk about how you do it. Not just what it is, but I'm going to show you how to do it. An interesting question to explore before I even start this question is, and you might like to think of it as I'm speaking, what is innovation? Do you know? Because we need a definition. Do you know an interesting statistic? In the 1920s, the life expectancy of a public company in the USA was 65 years. By the 1990s, it had fallen to 10 years. Today, it's approaching 5. That's the graph. 5 years. The question is, how do we fix it? Has anyone got any ideas? What do we do to fix this? The answer is innovation. Now, there's only one way to build a business, and that is to build the top line, the revenue line. You can reduce costs, but that doesn't build the business. You've got to build revenue. There's only one way to build revenue: sell more stuff. Do you know what the single biggest risk in business is? The single biggest risk. The reason most businesses fail? Simple. You don't sell enough stuff. True? If you sell enough stuff, you stay in business and you grow. So what we want to work at is how to find the things to sell that have the minimum market risk. You know, there are only 2 risks in business. The first risk is technical risk, which says, can I do it? And the tech edge can tell you that in a flash. If I want to put a laser pointer in the end of this pen, the tech edge can say, yeah, no problem, we can do that. If I say, I want anti-gravity boots, can you give me anti-gravity boots so I can float around the room? The tech edge will say, wow, that's a great idea, but give us $1 billion in 500 years and maybe we'll get there. We can assess technical risk. The single biggest risk in business, as I said, is market risk. How do we remove it? The answer is innovation. I'm going to discuss innovation, and I'm going to derive a definition before I show you how to do it. I'm going to derive a definition like we derive a mathematical equation. I'm going to do it by posing a couple of questions for you. And you can think about these questions, and then we'll explore how your mind works. Let's pretend it's 1960. And I've just invented and patented a fabulous brand new product called a Rubik's Cube, like this. And I come to you with a winning business plan and I say, invest in my Rubik's Cube, I'm going to sell $1 billion. I ask the question, would you invest? Any investors? 1. I'll see you later, that's fantastic. Brilliant. The question is, the issue is, very few people would invest in that product. But what about this scenario? It's 1940, and I've just realised I make spanners, or as they call them in America, wrenches. You make a wrench by putting a piece of steel under a drop forge, it goes bang and a wrench falls on the floor. And I've just realised that I've actually lodged a patent for a wrench, and on the other end of it, it's got another size. I've now doubled its value for essentially the same price. I asked the question, would you invest in that? Yes? Hey, have a look. How did your mind work in making these decisions? This is the first thing we need to understand when we think about what innovation is and how we do it. So what I developed was this simple thing called a market risk map. A market risk map. Every product or service in the world fits on this. On this axis we have the categories that define every product or service: industrial or commercial, consumer or fashion. Every product or service in the world fits in there. Industrial products are things like electric drills, bulldozers, power tools, the sort of stuff we buy because we know they will improve the efficiency of our business, and I can measure the benefit. Commercial products, things like fax machines, photocopiers, high-speed internet, software, all that stuff, they're commercial. We buy them for our office because they'll improve our business outcome, and we can measure the return. Consumer products, why do we buy toothpaste? I can buy toothpaste on brand, Colgate or something for $5, or I can buy home brand for maybe $1. I'll make the decision based on price. What about fashion products? Louis Vuitton, Rolex, Prada. Why do we buy those? I'd love someone to explain to me. I have no idea. I can buy a Prada or a Louis Vuitton handbag for $2,000, or I can buy a look-alike for $2. They both serve the same function, but yet many people buy this. It's amazing. On this axis, and remember this is market risk, we have a thing called novelty. We have high novelty, stuff we've never seen before. You go to a patent attorney, the first thing he says is it novel? Have you seen it before? If it's not novel, you can't patent it. If it is novel, you can. Then we have low novelty, stuff we've seen before. Now, whenever I'm looking at a new opportunity, new innovation, I ask myself where it fits on this map. And this works for services as well. Where does our Rubik Cube fit? Can I suggest its high novelty was never ever seen before it hit the market? And it was consumery fashion in nature. It fits up here. No-go area. We don't invest in stuff like that. That's just too risky. You can't make an assessment. Where does our spanner or our wrench fit? Down here. It's low novelty, everybody understands it, and it's industrial in nature. So we can see immediately the benefit. Whenever I look at a new product or service, I say, where does it fit on this map? And I hear you say, aha, but what about new stuff? The PC, the photocopier, or the fax machine? I'll ask this question. I asked this in India recently at a conference, and someone Googled the answer before I actually finished. Can anyone tell me when the fax machine was first patented? This will blow you away. Anyone got an idea? 1896. 1890. You reckon that Mr. Fax made any money? I doubt it. Do you know, in 1960, I was offered distribution rights for fax machines in Australia. I could have been Mr. Fax. And I'm thinking, wow, I wonder if I could sell this. And I thought to myself, would you like to buy the first fax machine in the world? Who are you going to fax? Fax machines had to be sold in pairs. The PC, Thomas Watson, the head of IBM, said there's a world market for 5 PCs, and he was right. You haven't got a PC on your desk, you've got a fast typewriter. If someone hadn't invented word processing and spreadsheets, you wouldn't have a computer on your desk. True? Windows interface, the graphic user interface. Who was first with it? Does anyone know? Xerox. Xerox, correct. Who put it on the market first? Apple. Who made all the money? The third guy. The third guy. Did DHL, FedEx or UPS invent post? No. They just said, gee, the postal service takes 2 weeks to deliver a parcel. I'm going to do it overnight. Did Henry Ford invent the motor car? He was 13th. Guess what, folks? Most firsts fail. You don't have to be first. The secret to low-risk innovation is find something that everybody's doing and do it better. Isn't that simple? That's what Google did. That's what Facebook did. That's what the iPhone did. That's what the iPad did. Find something in the market everyone's doing, improve it. From this we get a definition of innovation. Innovation is defined as change that adds value. That's it. Find stuff and change it to add value. Now with that little background, and may I say, this is a very valuable drawing to think about where products and services fit. How do we innovate? Well, my material is called matrix thinking. I've written 4 books on this particular subject, and it's exceedingly simple. What we do is we find a structure. I'm an engineer. Engineers love structures. We have a product innovation matrix. On this axis we have seeds. These are the 4 fundamental ways you can improve a business once you have a product in the market. And the 4 things you can do are change the product in some way, improve it in some manner, innovate it, and Apple would be the world champions. The second thing you can do is you can add accessories. Many companies make more money out of accessories than they do, in fact, out of the product. And have you ever been into a shop to buy ink for your printer? And you walk out with a new printer because it's cheaper than the accessory? Many companies do this. The third one is complementary products. McDonald's hamburgers would be the world champion. You walk in and buy a hamburger, do you think you can walk out with just a hamburger? No, they complement the experience with the fries and the drink and all that stuff, correct? When someone comes to you to buy something, don't sell them the product, sell them the solution, the entire solution. This is the way to do it. And the final one is channel enhancement. When you have a product, a business selling something to another business or a consumer, that's called your channel. What else can you feed into the channel? Developing that relationship is gold. Once you've got it, leverage it. That's a great way to build a business. Now, once we've got a product, doesn't matter what it is, we've got on this axis things called catalysts. I write like this because I don't spell too well, so I'm an engineer and I don't spell too well. We have 12 catalysts. The intersection of a seed and a catalyst asks you to think about innovating something in a particular way. And I'll give you a great example of how this works. Has anyone heard the term brainstorming? Brainstorming? Completely useless term in my view. So could you brainstorm that for me? I ask people this at conferences and they look at you like you're some sort of dill. You can't brainstorm that. It's an open question. Good. Instead of brainstorming a product, what I like to do is get a product, get a small group of people, put it on the table, and it could be this glass of water, and say, please complete this sentence. I wish this glass of water would turn into beer. Not empty. Stay cold, stay hot, not spill, not break, etc. I wish this pen would be every colour, wouldn't mark my fingers, would easily erase, would digitise into my computer when I wrote on the whiteboard, etc., etc., etc. Get a product, put it on the table, get a small group of people and make a wish. And they can be your customers or internal staff. This stuff is easy. Another one of these is called new function. Every time a new product comes out, like an iPhone or whatever, it's got a new function. There are most products to which you can add a function. That's called innovation. I'll give you a classic example. There's a thing also called tracking. It means follow a product, see what happens in its life. There's a bicycle. Well, my drawing of the bicycle, put up with it. I had an inventor come to me and he said, I've just invented a new thing called a bicycle bell. And I'm thinking, woo! Now you see, I've just discovered an opportunity for innovation. Why did that happen? That to me, that's bleeding opportunity. We'll talk about opportunity in a minute if I have time. This person came to me and said, I've just invented a new bicycle bell. And I said, wow, there's only 500 different ones on the market. If we're going to put yours on the market, let's innovate it. Let's change it to add value. So let's track it and see what happens to it. So this person, I said, where does the bicycle bell spend all its life? Well, on the handlebars. I said, great. Now we know where it spends its life. How can we add an innovation to it that adds value? Can anyone tell me who's got the 2-second invention? What else can a bicycle bell do?
Have a light attack.
A light! This guy, you could patent that tomorrow, sir. There'll be a race to the patent's office. For 20 cents, I can put an LED, a battery and a switch in my bicycle bell. I've now doubled the functionality. And it took 2 seconds? 2 seconds to come up with that innovation. Simply because we have a structured process. This stuff is simple. There are 12 catalysts, 4 seeds for product innovation. I've got a matrix like this for service innovation, for process innovation, and I want to finish on another matrix which I get even more excited about, if you can imagine that. Can you imagine that? It's called an opportunity matrix. What is an opportunity? Can anyone tell me? Opportunity is defined in the dictionary as a fortunate intersection of events. Well, I don't want my business to be fortunate. I want systems. So I created a thing called an opportunity matrix. And I defined an opportunity as an observed Fortunate set of circumstances. You've got to look and observe. That's how you find opportunities. And there are 5 things I observe. The first one is predictable activity. What can I predict? And I was interested when we were hearing before, did everyone come back to the same seat? Most often people do. You can predict that with great certainty. The next one is widespreadness. Some of the catalysts include I wish, tracking. Another one's called frustration. Frustration is the greatest source of business and innovation opportunity you'll ever find. Products and services exist because they meet a need. When someone expresses a need, it's usually with a curse. This stuff is simple, so I'll show you how you do this. Let's look at widespread activity. The problem with inventors, and inventors are great at finding frustrations. The trouble is they solve a problem for themselves. If you want to find a product or an opportunity that has got widespread application, find a widespread opportunity and widespread occupation. For example, a plumber, an electrician, a sales rep, a taxi driver, it doesn't matter, widespread. And then you do an exercise called tracking. If you track an electrician for a week, and every time he curses, you write down the reason for the curse, and then you find another electrician, these guys curse a lot, I might say, then you find, unless they work on the diesel plant, because then they're usually not working. And then you find another electrician, and you track him or her for a week. You find 4 electricians for 4 weeks, and at the end of it, you plot a very simple graph. Number of curses, reason for curse. And you get a histogram. This is mathematically rigorous. They're all cursing for that reason. It's a widespread occupation. If I solve it for one, I've solved it for the world. Now, I've done this in more than 2 industries. This is simple, it's mathematical, it's systematic. And once you've identified the opportunities, you've got the chance for innovation. This is the way I work, and this is the way my material is structured. I have these matrix, and it's called matrix thinking because I've developed these matrices to do this. And the same with prediction. I'm doing some work with a chocolate company. And we discovered, I asked them to do an exercise on predictions. I said, how many people in Melbourne per week go to a dinner party? And the hostess takes a gift, or you take a hostess gift. We quickly did the sum. You know what the answer was? 500,000 a week. So I said, we've now identified a widespread predictable activity. And they all take, or at least half of them, take chocolates. I'm working with a chocolate company. The question simply is, how do we access that market? This is how you can use this opportunity matrix. This is gold. So I'll finish on this note. The life expectancy of a business in America in the 1920s was 65 years. In the 1990s, 10 years. Today it's approaching 5 and less. The only way to build your business is to innovate. The biggest business risk is market risk. How do you fix it? Find what's working and do it better. That's the message. Thank you very much.